Jalen Brunson is the greatest New York Knick of all time. Hold on. Everybody calm down.
That's my energy.
He's top 5.
Yeah, that's my energy.
Is he top
That's
3?
my energy. Yeah, that's
Jalen
my
Brunson.
energy. Oh my.
They haven't won in over 50 years, y'all. He's done something that no other New York Knick has been able to do. Now, I say he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about and the New York fans. Y'all gotta calm down. Y'all beating people up and spitting on people and stuff. Calm down. I saw somebody burn the school bus. What is the kids ain't got nowhere to ride to the school? Let's talk about all that and more on this episode of the Coach Cherry Show.
I say keep it a vibe. I'm ready now. Talking right now. Go ahead.
I know y'all gonna get on me. Coach Cherry, we saw the video. You picked the Spurs to win. I did. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't. I did pick the Spurs. My gut was, first of all, I said it was a tough call. My gut was saying pick New York, pick New York. I picked the Spurs because I felt like they were more talented. And guess what? The Spurs are the more talented team. Yeah. They lost 4-1. What you mean? The Spurs are the more talented team. The Spurs' youth and inexperience is what hurt them. They didn't know how to close. That's all that was. The Spurs had a double-digit lead in every game. All 5 games, they had a double-digit lead. I saw a stat that said the Spurs led for 72% of the finals. Wow. So you mean to tell me the Knicks only led 28% of the finals and won 4-1? No, even game 5. I'm watching game 5, and the Spurs had another double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. And at that point, I said, don't even get excited, because they're probably going to blow it. See, the Spurs don't have a go-to guy. My high school coach, when I first got my first head coaching job, my high school coach said, it was my second head coaching job actually. My high school coach said, Coach Cherry, who's your go-to player? Who's your guy? I said, what do you mean? Team basketball. Yeah, team basketball is fine. But when everything breaks down, when you need a big bucket, who is your guy? The Spurs don't have a go-to guy. What are you talking about? They got Wemby. Wemby's a guard. If Wemby's going to run around the perimeter and shoot 3-pointers, offensively, he's not. It's only special because let me say this. It's special because he's doing it at 7'5", but it's not dominant. Yes, what Wemby is doing is special because we've never seen a 7'5" player do that. But because he's 7'5" and he's living at the 3-point line, he's not dominant. You're just another guard. So yeah, he can get you 20 points, 25 points, but so can Dylan Harper. So can Stephon Castle. They can do that. De'Aaron Fox, they can get you 20 points. If Wemby's going to get you 20 points off shooting threes and jump shots, I'll take that. As an opposing coach, now what I don't want to see as an opposing coach is Wemby posting up, because there's no answer for that. At 7'5" post, there's no. But if he wants to live on the perimeter, I'll take that all day. So I think the Spurs did not have a go-to guy. I felt it could have been Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper now he's probably the youngest, he's only 20, but he looked the most equipped to be the go-to guy. I heard people saying had they kept Chris Paul, that would have helped. I don't know. If I could place Chris Paul in those finals, they only needed Chris Paul for the fourth quarter. You got to understand now, they got all the way to the finals without Chris Paul. They didn't need him to get there. As a matter of fact, they have a double-digit lead in every game. They didn't need Chris Paul the first 3 quarters. If somehow they could have just said when the fourth, not even at the beginning of the fourth quarter, right around that 8-minute mark, if they could insert Chris Paul, they win those finals. My only thing is, I don't know if Chris Paul messes up the first 3 quarters with Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper and Champagnie and Vassell. There's a lot of guards out there. And Chris Paul is very ball dominant. So Mitch Johnson, I don't even fault Mitch Johnson. I don't fault Mitch Johnson. I've been there as a coach. What's this, his second year? No more than his third year. He's only 39. He's never been to the finals before. I don't fault Mitch Johnson. I don't. Young coach, he's learning. The only reason this and the Spurs need another big, because when Wemby is guarding Karl Anthony Towns at the 3-point line, and a lot of times Wemby was guarding Brunson. When the shot goes up, who's there to rebound? Because Wemby's at the 3-point line. So who's there to rebound? Dylan Harper? De'Aaron Fox? Stephon Castle? And Cornette was never in with Wemby at the same time. So they didn't have another big. I saw today, I think it was on X or Twitter, whatever they call it. It may just be a rumor that they were pursuing John Collins. That's the addition. Now, if the Spurs can bring in a John Collins at power forward, I think they got a chance to go back to the finals. Without that, I'm not sure. But the New York Knicks, first championship since 1973. Ooh. Now let me ask you this question, y'all. Because Jalen Brunson, there's a lot to talk about with Jalen Brunson. Where is he as an all-time Knick now? He's done something they haven't been able to do in over 50 years. The Carmelo Anthonys and the Bernard Kings and the Stephon Marburys and the Patrick Ewings and the John Starks and the Jeremy Lins, and they haven't been able to do it. The Latrell Sprewells, the Allen Houstons, the Jeff Van Gundys excellent, Pat Riley's, excellent job with. Those are some of the best Knick years in their organization's history. But Jalen Brunson delivered a title and won Finals MVP. Where does he rank? I'm going to say this. I still have Walt Clyde Frazier and Willis Reed ahead of Jalen Brunson. Yes, I said it. Well, first of all, let me say this. They won 2 titles, 1970 and 1973. Now, I know people watching today may not feel that way because there's no nostalgia. You didn't see them. Both of those titles were before I was born, so I didn't see that. But just knowing how tough it is to win a title, I have Walt Clyde Frazier and Willis Reed ahead of Jalen Brunson. I'm going to also say this. Boy, they might not like this. I got Patrick Ewing ahead of Jalen Brunson. Yes, I said it. Patrick Ewing didn't win no title, Coach Cherry. No. Listen. When you talk about the greatest New York Knick of all time, the moment, you're telling me Jalen Brunson is more beloved as a New York Knick than Patrick Ewing? That's what you're telling me. Now, the Knicks did go to 2 finals while Pat was there. They didn't win either one of them. Lost to Hakeem Olajuwon, lost to David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Woo, boy, that was good basketball. But that's why I think Patrick Ewing is still above Jalen Brunson. You know why? Because of the memories. Patrick Ewing and those New York Knicks battled with legends. I'm talking about Larry Bird and the Celtics. I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons. I'm talking about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. We're talking about historically great teams that Patrick Ewing had to battle with. Even legends like Reggie Miller. Like, I think when we think of Patrick Ewing's time with the Knicks, we think of big games, big moments. Why? Because he's going against Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Huh? In the East, you're talking about Jordan, Isaiah, Bird. Then you go to the West, you got Hakeem. Then you got David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Ooh, I'm talking about battling. And so I think and the Knicks they didn't win a title, but like I just said, they went to 2 finals. They were good. They went to multiple conference finals. Patrick Ewing, I think, as an all-time Knick, is still above Jalen Brunson. See, nostalgia has to set in. There's no nostalgia yet with Jalen Brunson. Why? Because he's still playing. Now, Jalen Brunson has a couple more good seasons with the Knicks. He doesn't have to win a championship. Let me also say this, y'all. Let me also say this. What Jalen Brunson has done, he does not have to win another championship. I don't care if they lose in the second round next year. I don't want to hear any Jalen Brunson slander. He delivered a title, the first one in 53 years. I don't care what they do next year. As long as they're still good and still in the playoffs. Now, when Jalen Brunson retires, the nostalgia will set in. Watch this. As he retires, watch how his New York Knicks stardom grow. Now, if he wins a second title, then yeah, I mean, at that point, he's the greatest Knick of all time. But fresh off this title, I don't have him number one. I don't have him top 3, y'all. Now, I have him at 4. I have him over Carmelo. Yes. I have him over Bernard King. I do. I have him over Stephon Marbury. I have him over Earl the Pearl. I do. I have him over, who else was I thinking about? John Starks. I have him over all those guys. I just have 3 guys ahead of him. Willis Reed, Walt Clyde Frazier, and yes, Patrick Ewing. I don't know if coaches count as all-time Knicks. Pat Riley, Jeff Van Gundy. I don't know if coaches count. But Jalen Brunson, y'all forget he was a second-round pick. Dallas really let Jalen Brunson go. Well, I know they are kicking themselves now. And don't forget, Jalen Brunson took a pay cut. This last contract he signed, he could have got the max. He took a pay cut so they would have room to sign other players. But this next contract, you got to pay Mr. Brunson. Y'all, I know San Antonio is young. I know they're young. Wemby's just 22. Dylan Harper is 20. Stephon Castle is 21. Vassell is 25. Carter Bryant is 20. Heck, De'Aaron Fox is 28. He's not even 30. Karl Anthony Towns is older than De'Aaron Fox. It's not a guarantee that the Spurs get back now. Let me make that clear. Oh, they're going to be back. SGA and OKC. People thought that was the beginning of a dynasty last year. They didn't make it back this year. You know why? Jalen Williams was hurt. See, all it takes is one thing to happen. That's all it takes is one thing to happen to disrupt what you're building. What if there's an injury for the Spurs? What if Stephon Castle's hurt next year? It doesn't have to be a major injury. Just what if he misses some time? What if Dylan Harper misses? What if Wemby? What if somebody gets hurt? What if somebody gets traded? What if another team in the West selects the rookie of the year next year and it adds to? What if OKC adds a player to the? I mean, you don't know what man. What if Jalen Williams is just healthy next year? If Jalen Williams is healthy, the Spurs are not in the finals this year. They're not in the final. OKC took them to 7, and Jalen Williams wasn't even healthy. So if OKC is healthy next season, that could eliminate the Spurs. What if Denver adds somebody for Jokic and Jamal Murray? They're back. So you don't know how this thing is going to shake out. What if the Spurs get back to the finals next year and lose again? What if Boston, Jason Tatum is healthy and Jaylen Brown is healthy and they add something to the Celtics? You don't know how this thing is going to play out. That's why I always say, and I know they're trying. When you get there, you got to win it. Ask Charles Barkley. One time, that's it. I just brought up Patrick. Ask Patrick Ewing. Ask James Harden. That young OKC team with him, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. It looked like James Harden ain't been back to the finals yet. Russell Westbrook hasn't been back to the finals yet. So I can't sit here and tell you Wemby's going to have plenty of chances to go. Okay. You better win that thing when you get there. Dan Marino is still trying to get back to a Super Bowl. He went that one time, his second or third year in the NFL, and never made it back. It's just not a guarantee. Huh? I mean, you got to win it. I hope Drake May gets back. Don't know. You got to win it when you're there. Kudos to Mike Brown. Man, I've always said you got to be careful getting rid of a good coach. Mike Brown took that LeBron James Cleveland team to the finals. That team had no business in the finals. He had LeBron and who else? Who was their starting five? Tell me the starting five. Because that Cleveland team was very nasty and very shaky. LeBron James, yeah. And I'm talking about a young LeBron James. This ain't LeBron at Miami or LeBron, the second LeBron in Cleveland. That's a different LeBron. But you're talking about Mike Brown took the... See, I think because LeBron James was on that team, people didn't give Mike Brown his credit for getting them to the finals. Okay, I see what happened. That's what that is. Because he had LeBron James, he didn't get credit. Okay, I see what... Well, what about when he went to Sacramento and took them to their first playoff since 2006? Who was on that team that's a Hall of Famer? Who? By the way, Jalen Brunson is going to the Hall of Fame already. He ain't got to do nothing else. Tony Kukoc is in the Hall of Fame. And you're telling me Jalen Brunson's not? No, Jalen Brunson is in the Hall of Fame right now. He's in it. There's some guys that are in the Hall of Fame that didn't do half of what Jalen Brunson has done. But back to Mike Brown. He took Sacramento to the playoffs. Why'd they fire Mike Brown? And now look at Sacramento. An absolute mess. Why did they fire? You do not get rid of a good coach unless you know you have something better. That's a life principle. You're in a relationship. Unless there's just turmoil and unhealthiness in the relationship, don't you think that you just getting rid of something and gonna get something better? Okay. Finances. You're investing and maybe you're in the stock market. If you make a decision, I hope that you know it's something better. They got rid of Mike Brown and now they look a mess. And Mike Brown is over here hoisting up the Larry O'Brien trophy. My goodness. I bet they wish they had Mike. See, this is why you can't let players control everything. Some are saying it's because of, ironically, De'Aaron Fox was the point guard for Mike Brown in Sacramento. And apparently Mike Brown had been complaining about some of De'Aaron Fox's decision making, which actually hurt the Spurs in this year's finals. Mike Brown could have been on that sideline for New York as De'Aaron Fox was making mistakes, saying, I told him about this in Sacramento. When he was my point guard in Sacramento, I tried to tell him he's making too many mistakes. They fired me for that. Now look what he's doing for the Spurs, making too many mistakes. Man, y'all better let these coaches coach. Go ahead. Go ahead and get back to silly. Y'all better let these coaches coach. Coach Cherry, a very early prediction. Who goes to the finals next year? Wow. I don't think y'all asking me that already. I will say this. Since 2019, the finals have had two new teams every year. Champion or the runner-up has not gone back since 2019. Golden State was the last team to do it. So the numbers tell us it's going to be two new teams next year. We hadn't even had the NBA draft yet. Y'all asking me this? If I had to, now this may change because teams may select certain players during the NBA draft next week. But if I had to pick right now, out of the Western Conference, I probably would go OKC, y'all. Now, this is assuming that Jalen Williams is healthy. Out of the Eastern Conference, New York has a chance to go back. I would say it's between New York and Boston. I don't know how healthy Jason Tatum is. I think Jason Tatum rushed back. I think he came back too soon. Why he came back and they were number 2, I have no idea. But I think he rushed back too soon. He rushed back. We could have New York and OKC in the finals next year. If I had to pick today, that's what I would pick. But man, Jalen Brunson, yeah, he's in history now. Mike Brown too. And New York Knicks fans, what is going on in that city with the fans? And it's when they win or lose. I see them beating people up and taking hats off their head and giving people haircuts on the street. I don't know what's going on in New York. And I said, man, if they win this championship, they're going to burn that city down. And that's exactly what's been going on. Why y'all setting school buses on fire? And these people walking around the city with San Antonio Spurs jerseys on, I don't know. It's like you're asking to be slapped around. Why would you wear that in New York? I saw a couple of guys walking solo down the sidewalk with a Tim Duncan jersey on. I said, brother, they kicked him in his back and he fell down. What are you doing? It's not right, but you're in enemy territory. But these Knicks fans, when they hit Wemby in the head with that egg, I said, they're out of control. It's one thing to be excited about your team, but you've got to calm down. Why would you tear up the city when you won? You won the championship. You're going to tear the city up? I can understand being frustrated with a loss. You still shouldn't tear up anything. But it would be more understandable because, they're frustrated, they're angry, they lost again. It's been 54 years now. But you win and you tear the city up? I don't get it. A lot of that times, though, I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of times people that didn't play sports. You don't see former athletes acting like that. Now you saw David Robinson rooting for the Spurs and Tim Duncan, and you see Patrick Ewing is happy that the Knicks have won, and John Starks is happy, and these former Larry Johnson. I saw Allen Houston. I saw Spreewell. I saw these guys over there. Carmelo, Stephon Marbury. I saw them in the crowd. But you're not going to see them acting crazy because they ball players, they hoopers, they're athletes. There's not an element of corniness to them cheering for sports. The people that didn't play a lot of times, they may have an element of corniness in their cheering. And so, yeah, man, look at my team. Calm down. Hey, man, you stink. Calm down. It's when you see those extreme fans, a lot of times they didn't play, or they didn't play at a high level. But this right here, it's inappropriate too. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's unacceptable. Beating people up, taking jerseys off, making them walk blindfold down the street. It's unacceptable. It's ridiculous. Everybody calm down. But now, the NBA is over. The NFL is over. For some people, this is that part of the sports season like, uh-oh. But the NBA draft is next week. We will talk about that also. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Coach Cherry Show. Please hit that like and subscribe button right there and follow the YouTube channel every day. Shorts are posted daily. I am your host, Coach Cherry. I love Jesus Christ. I'm a husband, father, former head coach, former college athlete, and independent rap artist. This Friday, my youngest son is releasing his first EP, A-Train. He makes beats, y'all. He's a beat maker, and he's a hood. His first EP drops this Friday, June 19th, on Juneteenth. It's called A-Train Chronicles. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your music, it's going to be there. Check out A-Train Chronicles, the first EP from my youngest son, dropping this Friday. It's hot. I've heard it, y'all. It's hot. And my oldest son, follow his page as well on Instagram, Real Thoughts. If you want to talk about movies, you want to hear about in-depth analysis of movies and television shows, that's your spot right there. YouTube and Instagram, Real Thoughts. That's what you see at the end. R-E-E-L, like that play on the spelling of the word, like R-E-E-L, Thoughts. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Coach Cherry signing out. God bless you.
Don't ever minimize the moment you win. If you minimize the moment, then you losing a win. I broke the game down, this ain't a facade. Respect my ancestors.